if psychology and pop culture had a baby, they'd call it Shrink Tank.
There is a sort of pendulum that's swinging back and forth where we kind of go from one extreme.
And I think there's an element of truth to
Because
this.
I have something interesting later in the show that will make you feel very weird.
From Nashville and Charlotte, this is the Shrink Tank Podcast. And welcome, everybody. We have a hot one for you today. Thanks for joining us. This is a special episode of the Shrink Tank Podcast. I'm Dave Verhagen here in Nashville. And our show today is the New Year's resolutions update. And we're going to get to that all through this episode. But first, we're going to meet our Charlotte panel. Dr. Emma Kate Wright is here. Hello, Emma Kate.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And this is our first podcast where we're actually video recording. And you look lovely with your scarf.
I know, it's very chilly here,
Yeah.
so...
If I'd remembered when I woke up this morning that we were going to video record, I think I would have done a little something different with the old hair.
With the old
Little product.
everything.
With the old everything. And Dr. Frank Gaskell's with us. Hello, Frank.
Hello, Mr. David.
How are you been doing lately?
Doing pretty good. Very, very cold. Very, very cold.
One of my daughters lives in Des Moines, Iowa, and it was 19 degrees below
Whoa.
today. Minus
That's-
19 today.
That's
Serves-
ridiculous.
Serves you right for living in
No, thank
Iowa.
you.
That's why I said. So, yeah, when she moved out there, I said, it's really cold out there. She goes, nah, it'll be all right. So I screenshotted her weather forecast for today and sent it to her just to kind of rub it in. And Jonathan Hedderly's here. You just heard him. He's our certified Asian. He rounds out our panel. And so today we're going to talk about our New Year's resolutions. And for those of you who didn't hear the episode, it was right at the first of the year. And we did something a little different. We gave each other New Year's resolutions. So we're going to follow up with what we did and how we did, and there will be rewards and punishments meted out from what I'm understanding. So, and this includes the four of us plus our producer and audio engineer, Sean Beck, and our associate producer and social media guru, Mariel Butler. So let's jump in. And so why don't we let me ask you this. Do we want to just say what we did first, or do we want to say it and then how we did? Do we want to get it all over with? Right.
Let's quick go around the room and say what we
Okay.
did.
Say what you did. Go with Emma Kate.
Okay, so I had to give up coffee for 30 days.
Frank.
I had to do yoga for 30 minutes every day for 30 days.
And Jonathan.
I could not eat out for 30 days.
It's so great.
And I will say mine, but Mariel and Sean need to come over to the microphone to say theirs. Mine was I had to walk 10,000 steps every day. 10,000 steps every day. Okay.
I like the inflection.
Yeah. Is
A little bit.
Mariel near the mic?
Well, they are not able to get to the mic, but Dave, why don't you tell what their challenges were?
All right. Well, Mariel comes from a big Italian family, lots of pasta, lots of rich food, and she could not eat any cheese or dairy, nothing with dairy for the entire month. And Sean, for reasons we will just assume, had to come to work early and be at work, I believe, at 7:30 every day. Yeah. So
All right.
that's fair. All right. Now, and remember, by the way, the key point here is we did not choose our own resolution. We were given.
Correct.
Yeah, this really was more of negative incentive and, versus, positive motivation, really wanting to positively change our lives. I think we all went a little kicking and screaming with this New Year's challenge.
A lot.
That's fair.
And there was some of us that did a lot more kicking and screaming over the past 30 days, I might add.
I believe it's just one of us.
Well, we started to have a few
For
whiners
me.
Well,
to go
Emma
with
Kate.
the
A little
cheese that
whining.
Marielle couldn't eat.
So I want to say this before we go around. I don't
Here it is.
know that there's parity among these things.
Here comes the
there's
whining.
There's no equity among these things. Just so
Anyone notice the white man is saying like, I don't think this was fair.
Yeah. Insert baby crying sound.
All right.
my.
So I'm just putting it out there that I'm not entirely sure that this was fair. I think not eating cheese and walking for 3 hours a day is the same thing. Just as an example.
Again, there's a thing called a treadmill.
All right. We start with Emma Kate. You have to give an honest accounting, and you have to be brutally honest. How'd you do?
Okay. I did really well, actually. So we kind of had the social aspect to our original challenges, but I don't think any of us really did that other than maybe Sean getting here at 7 on 4 days. But so I had one moment where actually for Sean, our producer, we went out for his birthday and I ended up having a sip of a stout, a beer. And I was like, wait a minute, there's coffee in this. And so I gave the beer sadly away to someone else. And then I told Hedderly this, but I went to Starbucks actually yesterday and I ordered a tea. And when I got the tea, I guess they were doing a promotion and I got a grande instead of a tall with 2 tea bags instead of 1.
2 tea bags.
So there were 2 tea bags.
It was a tea bag that brought you down.
Right. But so otherwise, I legitimately did this challenge.
All right. Well, we believe you. We do. And Frank, you had to do yoga every day. How'd you do?
I missed 4 total. And I got a pass on Sean's birthday. We were at a dog bar where dogs peed all over the floor constantly. And if I laid down like Happy Baby in the middle of the dog bar for 1 minute, then I could get a pass that night. And so I did Happy Baby for a minute in public on the floor of a dog bar.
And just to give a little visual, this is when you lay on your back and you hold your ankles by your hands, and it's really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, just think giving birth. It's basically
Really
giving birth.
uncomfortable to watch.
Well,
And what's ridiculous is as soon as I laid down, it felt like 100 dogs got on top of
Yes,
me.
they did.
well, and Dave, if you're interested, I actually have video recording
Oh, yeah.
Of Happy
Frank
Baby?
doing. Oh, yeah.
It is super upsetting.
It is. Yeah. Let's just say I think YouTube would flag it.
But I will say the challenge has gotten me over my fear of yoga.
Pants?
It doesn't make me like it at all. But it also got me into other exercising as well, which was nice.
Before we go on, let me just say that if someone gave me a pass and I had to lay on the floor for 1 minute like Happy Baby, I would do it every day of the month.
Golly, you're an unhappy
I would,
baby.
I would go to a dog. I'd drive to a dog bar. I'd lay on the floor, hold my ankles for 1 minute every day.
Well, that's not fair. You do that already every day just for pure pleasure. So that's not a challenge.
The same thing. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Would you lick the floor of the dog bar?
No.
As a pass? No. Okay.
Oh.
No.
So
So he
then
does have a line.
that wouldn't work then.
And you probably know this, but we went to a bowling alley in Nashville and it's called Donaldson Lanes. And when you walk in, it says like established in 1972 or something like that. The carpet looks like it was established in 1972. It's got like beer stains and vomit stains and mud. And as soon as we walked in, I saw the carpet and I'm like, I'll give someone $100 if they lick the carpet. And guess who did it? Lauren King.
Psychologist
Yeah.
in
I believe
Nashville.
that.
That's ridiculous.
$100. I paid up.
I believe that.
So, but no,
That's
I
impressive.
would not do it. All right, Jonathan, how have you been?
I've been fine, Dave. How have you been?
Yeah. How's your challenge been?
Oh, my challenge. Well, I am the reason everybody had up to 2 exceptions because my wife's birthday and our 20th anniversary were this month. But other than those challenges,
2 exceptions?
Yeah.
Oh, that only missed 3 days.
but other than that, I and everybody in here has watched me prepare meals, and I'll tell you, people get really petty with technicalities. Like, I bought store-made pico de gallo, and I added it to like little burritos, and people are like, "Are you sure that qualifies? Like, you didn't make it?" Like, no, I did not grow the tomatoes, and I did not kill the chicken that I made my chicken burrito out of. But
He went to Panera and bought a drink.
that's right, I bought coffee, something that Emma Kate couldn't do. No double tea bags in mine.
I think that was just intentional.
But I cooked for my family a few times, and all is well. It's not relatively that hard to do. It's just kind of annoying more than anything.
I think watching you make your food at the table is the most annoying thing, and I'm really ready for your challenge to be over.
The most annoying thing of all time.
No,
Apparently,
just of his challenge.
So it's
apparently
just
I'm
annoying.
Frank's food porn. He just watches me make my meals, and it's upsetting to him, like probably most porn is to Frank.
Wow.
So, how are we going to do this with Mariel and Sean? Are they coming to the microphone to report, or how does this work for this podcast?
We may.
Well, I think we can summarize on their behalf.
So we're getting text message. Hold.
Oh,
Okay.
Look at that.
Wow.
so we have feedback. Seems like Mariel says, "This is how I did for the challenge." She got a 1-week pass for extended circumstances. She said she did really well, aside from the day I got a salad for lunch, hand-picked, mind you, all the shredded cheese out of it, but got a dressing with dairy in it. And Sean says he has succeeded outright. He's the winner. Got here every day at 7:30, apart from the 4 days he got here at 7, and he likes to go to bed at 6 p.m. now. And I would like to add to this, on one day, I did every one of your challenges, except I didn't come into work. I got up at 7. However, today, I got to work at 7:20.
Wow.
So I did everybody's challenge.
You want a cookie?
Yay me. I want a
Yay,
cookie.
Frank.
Yes.
Have a cookie. All right. Well, let's move along.
Yes, let's move right along, Dave.
So, good for you guys. Awesome. Proud of you all.
How'd you do, Dave?
Yeah,
Oh, I
Davey.
did great. Yep. Okay, let's move along.
Tell us about it, Dave.
Okay, before I say, I want you.
Here we go.
There it is.
No, I'm done whining.
Are you?
Are you
No, I'm
really?
not. But for, how many days of the month? Because I have my little walking app. It tells me how many days of the month do you think that I successfully met the goal? And I will tell you, I'll give you a hint before you guess. Is I certainly took the 2 days of passes that I got. Okay. How many days do you think I met the goal?
I'll give you 6.
All right. Emma Kate, a guess?
I'm going to do Price is Right rules in 7.
Dave, I believe in you more than these hooligans over here. So I'm going to give you a solid 15.
Wow.
What? You're out.
Look at Dave is giggling so much. Ah.
Well, good. Well, this has been a great episode of the Shrink Tank podcast. If you have questions or
David?
comments, you can write us at feedback@shrinktank.com.
Oh my gosh. How many, Dave?
Okay, before I give the answer, I will say that I truly, truly tried to take this challenge seriously. I walked every day. I tried. When it was freezing cold, I went outside. I walked the dogs. When I couldn't go outside, I'd walk inside. We went to New Orleans this weekend, and I was just short of some walking goals. And so when everybody else went to bed that we went with, I walked the hotel floors till I got my steps. Okay. So I say all that. But the answer is 3.
Ooh wee.
Dave, I've had 3 nights where I got 10,000 steps in my sleep.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't
low,
either.
Dave.
How are
I'm
you
That's
alive?
so
sorry.
upsetting.
How are you alive, Dave?
Well,
Like, how many steps did you get? Like,
cumulative.
were we talking 4,000 steps a day? 3,000
Yeah, what was your
steps?
average?
Well, see, I'm looking at it, and it gives the whole month, and there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 12 other ones that were close,
Define close.
like 8,000 steps,
Okay.
something like that. So there was like, of the month, there's probably 17, 18 days where I was in that range. And there was
are you
one day
feel-
where I got 15,000 steps.
Wow.
Yeah, that's called being a tourist in New Orleans.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
but
are you feeling any different?
no.
I don't think his mood has improved from the exercise.
Like, I've actually seen a whinier side of Dave for the last
Well, here's
month.
why
Yeah,
it's
it's
whiny,
kinda
because I
weird.
wanted to do it, and it was like it's not possible. It's too much time. It's a time thing.
Hey, Dave.
It's too much
look.
time.
No, Dave, you say it takes 3 hours, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why didn't you get on a treadmill that is at your complex and just double your speed and get it over with? Because if you got on a treadmill for an hour, you'd be close to 6,000 steps, and then you just carry on for the rest of your day.
But like,
I feel like we all know the answer to that, though, because Dave is so injury prone. Like, he would die. Like, he would break a leg.
No,
or...
he's told me he gets on a treadmill, but it's more like with his walker, I think.
this is discouraging to me because I wanted to do well. But here's the thing. There'd be some days where I'd have like 7, 8 appointments. I'd have other meetings. I'd literally have like 9 or 10 hours worth of stuff in any day. And then I'd have an evening thing that I had to go to. So I'd leave in the morning, come here, work all day, go to something in the evening, get home at like 9:30. And at the end of the day, I'd have 3,000 steps. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and do 7,000 steps on a treadmill. I'm not. Well, at 10 o'clock at night, I'm not going to do
No,
it.
you do what Sean did. You get up early in the morning, go to the gym, do the treadmill.
No, I mean, Dave, it's okay. I work a lot with clients where we have to work through their reasons that eventually turn into excuses, and we just kind of talk through if that's the type of life you want to live,
Yeah.
if that's where you want to set the bar, that's perfectly okay. I mean, then we just move to the acceptance model rather than
Right.
the aspirational aspect of meaningful living.
So how would you
I'm
you
gonna-
help me, Jonathan? If that was me, how would you help me?
Well, I would remind you of all the people that love and care about you. And so that, no matter how far short basically you had a 10% success rate, 3 out of 31 days. That's great. That success rate for like winning the lottery is awesome. If you can once out of 10 lottery scratchy tickets win something, good for you, man.
I want to give Dave a bone because I know I have been. No, that sounded bad. I'm going to be honest. That sounded bad. I'm going to throw Dave a bone. That's the
gonna
correct
give him a bone.
expression. Oh my goodness, there it is.
Get in line.
So I want you to know that I am proud of you, even if you didn't.
Thank you,
make
Emma
your
Kate.
goal, because it's really hard to change behavior.
Well, I was
That is all.
trying. That's the thing. That's discouraging. I'd go out and I'd walk the dogs. Ellen can tell you, I would walk the hallways in our condo. People here at work will say, why is David walking up and down the halls now? All that kind of stuff. So it wasn't that I wasn't trying. I was trying.
Well, the good news, Dave, is when the dementia kicks in, you'll be fitter because people will be like, why is Dave walking down the halls? And it's not a challenge. It's just you don't know where you're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah, I think when
And
I get
Dave-
dementia and have the wanderlust, it'll be like I'll hit 10,000 steps every day. They're like, Mr. David's
day.
gone again, and they find me down the street.
Getting a chili dog.
I think this is a much bigger issue than you realize, Dave.
Okay.
Because I believe it was 2 months ago we heard that lack of exercise is worse than smoking.
Right. Which I've never
And
smoked.
I believe you said, I'm going to work out.
Yes.
And did that happen?
So basically, not because you have a cigarette in your hand, but you are addicted to nicotine based on your lifestyle here.
The logic somehow makes perfect sense. I want to walk and I want to exercise. I do.
I know you want to.
Well, but now really is the most important thing. Not, Dave, that you made progress and effort. The real important thing is, what is Dave's punishment for falling so epically short of his goal? So,
Well, I had proposed.
Wait, before we
Okay.
say that, are we going to also give Sean Beck a reward?
I think we
I
should.
think so.
Okay. Because he got no passes. He took no passes. He was the bizarro Dave, right? Like he was the opposite of Dave for this month.
Yes.
He did
Yeah.
everything right. All right. So we need a reward for Sean Beck. And I'm not trying to dodge the punishment, by the way.
sure. No, you're not. Not at all.
Okay.
I mean,
I would chip in money for Sean.
yeah, I think he deserves like a massage or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the massages that Emma Kate got once.
No, those are not good massages. And for listeners who are unaware, I had a bit of an incident once that involved bodily fluids, and that is all I will say when I went to a massage place.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Well, I know Sean, it's really important for Sean to take care of himself with overall health. And I know whether it be massage or sometimes cryo-freeze therapy or a float pod, he does a lot of unique things to take care of his body. So I think it makes sense for us to collaborate with him and get him a gift certificate or something where he can treat himself for the discipline that
Yes.
he demonstrated.
That's a
Here,
great
here.
idea. Here, here.
All right. We will do it.
Good job, Sean.
Good job.
Good job.
Clap, clap, clap.
And now the second most important thing we need to talk about, which is the punishment for old man Dave.
Well, I had proposed because Dave hates one of his things is he hates it when people cut their nails, is that we do a little video of us cutting our nails, and we have to
No.
watch him watch it.
no, I'm
No.
not cutting my nails.
Oh, okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be all of you.
Oh, okay.
But I really
I'm
don't
trying
think
to
that's
help
bad
you, Dave.
Maybe lick the floor of a dog bar.
Well,
I'd like to see that.
there's always the classic shaving your head.
No.
That punishes all of us to see Dave without his head of hair.
That's
Yeah, I've been thinking about
not
this, and I
gonna
can't
happen.
really come up with a
When-
good
By the way,
One thing we
earlier in the
could
week,
do-
Sean sent out an email and he said, "You all need to think about the punishments ahead of time." I'm like, I'm not going to touch that email because I know how this one's going.
Well, we should ask our listeners maybe for suggestions.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: we did not establish a punishment before when we did the podcast originally. We just said there will be consequences, but it feels like the resolution was foisted upon me, and I should have some say in the consequence.
After making 3 days, I don't think so, buddy. You are not in a
I think
negotiating
you forfeited
standpoint.
your voice in this
My
matter.
gosh.
We could lay down a sea of Legos on carpet and have Dave walk across the Legos barefoot,
Maybe he has to be videotaped doing a yoga class.
or taking like a venti quadruple shot coffee.
That's a good
Oh
idea.
no,
I think we
that
should-
would be bad.
It's like, oh.
I think we should somehow get Dave eligible to do a 5K with like preschoolers and watch them all win.
Actually, he needs to do a 5K. Walk it, run it, it doesn't matter. He
Yeah,
needs to do a 5K.
walk it, but he's got to GoPro it. So we have
Yeah.
to video the whole 4 hours,
yeah,
Dave.
it needs to be a
4
5K.
hours.
Because if you have to talk, we've heard you walk and talk, Dave, and it takes a lot out of you.
We're going to see how long it really takes him to go that far.
Oh,
Are we all in agreement? 5K?
And do it for something for a great cause, Dave. Find a great 5K charity in Nashville, and we'll blow it up, and we'll basically market it and ask for donations from our listeners to support that cause. And Dave is going to run on behalf of the Shrink Tank Podcast a 5K to
Yes.
do some good, to help out other people.
I like
love
that.
it. I love it. And I'd like to see him run at least a part of it.
You know what? Maybe if you find one that works for our time, Dave, some of us may even go out there and do it with you and give you a 30-minute head start.
That'd be so great.
Like 100 yards before the finish, that's when Sean starts, and he still wins.
I want to tell you before you lock this down that the most I've ever run in my life was in 6th or 7th grade, 1 mile.
Jeez.
That's true.
That's kind of sad, Dave.
It's definitely locked in.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Well, you can just walk it, and even then, you've gotten close with your 10,000. You hit 15,000 steps, so you can do it.
Well,
That took him almost 12 hours.
But he could do it.
And he was eating baguettes the whole time.
And it's for a good
He was getting his
cause.
carbs while he walked.
okay. All right. Well,
It's a good
I
experiment.
will accept the consequence begrudgingly, but I will do it. In fact, at lunch today with our staff here in Nashville, we asked the question, who's run the most 5K or longer races? And one person had run over 30. And it came around
Was
to me
that-
and I was like, goose egg, 0.
Was that Gunnar Goodlad?
No, it was actually Eli Parrott.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had several people that were 10 or more, but she was 30
Wow.
or more.
Oh.
So, okay. Well, I think we've all learned valuable lessons here today. I don't know what they are, but I think the lesson for me is to lie. I should have lied.
Well, and it's good that we didn't do updates, Dave, because if I knew that you were losing so bad, I probably would have cheated a little here and there, knowing that, like, I'm not going to be the one that loses the challenge. Like our first update, if you'd said, I feel like I'm improving.
Yeah.
That number 1 is still eludes me, but I'm hoping
Well, that brings up an interesting thing. We did say there would be consequences for people who fell short. We didn't just say for the biggest loser. So there were a couple others that fell short.
there was.
So just throwing that out there.
So is that Frank that you're referring to?
It could be
specifically?
Frank as an example.
Maybe.
Frank and Marielle fell
I
short.
believe
I
there's
think you and
first-
I were fine.
I believe there's first and last in this game, guys.
I don't feel inclined to dish out any more punishments, actually.
Oh wow.
If there is, we can talk about them offline. A smaller offense, but
Sure.
but Dave, you definitely take home the trophy with this one.
All right. Well, proudly so. I own it.
And be sure to announce at your next staff meeting the results as well, Dave.
I will indeed. I promise that will happen. Okay. So before we wrap this up, how was the challenge experience for you all? Like it was hard for everybody, not as hard as it was for me, mind you, but how was the challenge experience for you in terms of like going for 30 days and doing something really tough? Emma Kate?
I'm not going to lie, this was really hard for me because even right now, this is our first recording where we're trying to do video option with podcasts. And I'm like noticing down here, like all the people walking by. And I just think about how much caffeine helps me focus and not have headaches and just feel alive and normal. So, and then my fiance, Evan, has been so nice to me in the mornings because I have been horrible in the morning. So I'm just like, don't talk to me. But so overall, despite cranky mood, I'm actually really glad I was drinking so much green tea because green tea is really good for you. And my hope is to not go back to a massive size cup of coffee twice a day. So
Got it.
For you.
Frank?
I am not afraid of yoga. It's harder than I thought, I'll tell you that. And the funniest part of this thing is I told my family this, and Maddox, my son, is very much a rule follower. And he would say, when are you going to do your yoga? Did you do your yoga yet? So he was my police making sure and checking on me when I was doing it.
Jonathan?
I've given up things in the past for either dry January or observing Lent before. So this was more inconvenient at times and annoying at times than difficult, I would say. The hardest part was a couple times I would pick up food for my family because we are not a family that cooks. So I would go and pick up some very scrumptious looking food. And then basically I was Uber Eats. I delivered it to other people and then I got to watch them eat it.
Well, I liked the idea of the challenge. And one of the things that came out of it was that it really tested me because I live in a different city than you guys, to be really honest, because there was part of me that wanted to take screenshots of other days and pass them off as my real days. And there was other part of me that wanted to tie my phone to my dogs and let them run around. I really did. I had this idea that I was going to tie the phone to Missy's collar and then just let her go out and play, go run around the dog park. And I thought, I've beat the system. But I decided I was going to be very honest and fail miserably. When I saw how the month was going to go, it was a dilemma. But anyway, well, it has been a month, so that is going to do it for this month and for this edition of the Shrink Tank podcast. We hope you'll check out shrinktank.com. We have great articles and videos. And we also hope you'll follow us on Twitter at @shrink_tank and like us on Facebook. If you have questions or comments, please drop us a note. Our email is feedback@shrinktank.com. We'd love to get a few emails talking about how equitable and fair the challenge was.
God, what a baby.
And if you'd like the show, we hope you'll give us a good review on iTunes. That really helps us build our audience. We'd greatly appreciate it. Our producer and theme music composer and winner of the 30-day challenge is Sean Beck. Our associate producer and social media guru is Mariel Butler. For Emma Kate Wright, Jonathan Hederley, and Frank Gaskell in Charlotte, I'm Dave Verhagen in Nashville. Tell all your friends about us and make it a great week.